too.
We can have the command music happening.
Yeah, hey, I'm not sure what, like, it happens sometimes to those who call in from command, because every time Mike Manville gets on, we're always like, oh, Mike's on.
That's so funny. It's good music, right? It's like we need some holiday music though, some like upbeat kind of change it up a little. I'm just going to give a few more minutes because we're just coming up on 11:30 Central.
Perfect.
So for all of you who say, it never rains in California, right? Or it doesn't rain much. I guess it was pouring yesterday, Kathleen can say, and it was windy, right? In Alma, and I wasn't here. And I was like, I landed and I'm like, it's all gone. Yay! Today it's like nice again. So I don't know how I got lucky. Was it bad? There were like trees everywhere down. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Bad is good though to me. It was a good bad storm.
Okay, good. Great. Wonderful.
It's funny because I literally had just bought an umbrella the day before because I didn't have an umbrella. And I walked out of my house. This thing said it was like durable. It was vented, which I'd never even heard before, but apparently so it doesn't flip up. Literally, I walked out the door. There was like a gush of wind. It flipped it up and it broke it. I was like, what the heck?
Oh, no.
I'm like, I just bought it. So I'm like outside getting wet, and I was like, oh no. Okay, I guess I need to buy another one. I don't know if they sell it like an actual durable umbrella anymore.
So much for being proactive, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and get us started, and as people come on, of course, I'm really excited that you all are taking a few minutes of your time or a little bit of time today to jump on here. We know you're super busy with the holidays, and there's so much going on right now and into the year and all that, and very, very much appreciated that you've come on today. And we are excited to talk about planning and goal planning. So today we're going to hear from 3 ladies within our team and talking about that. And then depending on how much time we have, I just want to give you a quick update on what we're doing with the Women's ERG group, just some added things to our website to talk about, and then just looking a little bit into next year and, loving if some other folks would like to be involved or to speak at one of these events in the future. And so just to kick us off again, going into next year, I don't know who of you all either set goals, think about goals, or is it a time of year where you think, okay, my New Year's resolution, or I'm going to do something different, or maybe you just are really good about doing it all the time. But we thought we would share from, again, 3 ladies within our team on how they look at really setting goals for next year, setting goals just in their daily life, and how do they manage. And really, again, this Women's ERG group is to have us all just help each other and embrace each other. And yes, it's called Women, but we've talked about in our last meeting, it's not just for women, it's really supporting women in the workforce, but that takes all of us to do that and to really grow. And so we hope from this session today that you get to learn about how others are doing things, and hopefully it'll give you a little tidbit maybe on how you're doing it. And of course, we would love if you would share more in the future. And again, the idea is we all come together in this group and learn and support each other moving forward. So with that, I am going to kick it off to Tiffany. And for those of you who maybe don't know Tiffany as well, Tiffany Morris is our Director of Corporate Administration and Executive Assistant to Sean. She works directly with many departments in Revolution, including finance, human resources, purchasing. Prior to joining Revolution, she served as the assistant governor at the assistant governor's mansion. So isn't that cool? She's in the government. I need your help sometimes, Tiffany, with these things. Before that, she was the scheduler and fundraiser for Arkansas Congressional District. And she was born in Stuttgart, Arkansas. So if any of you want to know anything about that duck competition, she can tell you about that. She has a brother, and a fun fact, she is a twin, if you didn't know that
Oh,
about her. And her twin sister, they still manage their family farm they inherited from their paternal grandfather, which is amazing. She has a baby, and she has a fur baby. She lives in Idaho Springs, Colorado, and she just does so much. So I'm sure you've seen her on things, but now you get to meet her. So Tiffany, if you can kick us off, that would be great.
absolutely. Thank you, Cherish. Let me do this real quickly. All right. I think we're good. So, as Cherish said, I am the Director of Corporate Administration and, most importantly, the EA to Sean. I have been with Revolution for over 6 years now. When I started with them, I call it mom and pop. And so we're definitely growing and continue to grow. I think we had, maybe 65 employees when I started. And HR could probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have over 1,400 now. And so it has definitely been a changing experience, but one that has been absolutely amazing. I love my Revolution family. I love the leadership team. Cherish, everybody is just, they're amazing. They're not only what I feel like coworkers, but so many of them have become like really my closest friends. And so I hope you guys experience that as well. I know it's a little more difficult now that a lot of people are remote, but I do encourage you to reach out and keep in touch with your work family, because it definitely makes the day better. About 4 years ago, I actually went to Sean and who's our former owner, to tender my resignation, because unfortunately, my husband wanted to move to Colorado, which I was very supportive of, but I just thought that that's what I needed to do. And Sean and were very quick to say, absolutely not. You'll do this. You can do this from home. We think we can make it work. So I laughed that I went remote way before COVID made us go remote. So of my 6 years, about 4 of them, I've been in Colorado and working remotely. So when Cherish asked about organization tips, it's a little different for me, because I used to get to just walk to Sean's office and say, you need to do this and you got to do this. And, we have to get this done by 5 o'clock. And now it's much more, we do a lot of text messaging, a lot of calls, a lot of instant messaging. And the most important thing for me regarding organization is this book right here. I call it the Bible. Not to offend anyone about the Bible, because I believe in that as well, but this is my Bible. This is everything that happens in Sean's life and Revolution's life is here. And so I have probably 15 of these. I have every single one. They're all dated in chronological order. So that I can always go back and reference it. Sometimes you think you put a contact in your computer, and the next thing you know, you're like, nope, but I wrote it in the book. I don't know if Julie's on, but I traveled to Arkansas for a visit to the plant and left this at home. And I just was in the airport in a complete panic. I was like, I can't, I won't know what I'm doing. I won't know what Sean's doing if I don't have this, even though everything is on here. This is my go-to. So if you don't have a notebook, if you don't keep things, I do highly recommend it. It's really good. When I was in an office every day, people would, walk by the front office and say, hey, can I get the HP 54 printer cartridge? And I would say, yep, hold on just a second. And if it went in here, it's going to get done. But if you see me and it doesn't go in here, it's probably up here and may not come to fruition. So I highly recommend that. I also, regarding email, so I get close between 75 to 100 emails a day. Majority of them are all internal, because that's my main responsibility. Some of them are also the external ones for Sean. But I highly recommend flagging your emails, so that you make sure which ones need to be immediately answered. Sometimes I'll go back at the end of the day and I realize, well, out of the 70, I flagged 40. So probably need to relook at that. Anything that is a Sean task for me, that always goes to the very top of the list, and everything else comes after that. And so I'm sure you all have, your departments, your specific supervisors, maybe your managers. So again, I recommend the task. I also start every morning of my day with reviewing things that maybe I didn't complete the day before. And sometimes it's simply copying and pasting that, just writing that same list again and saying, this is what has to be done today. Because I feel like if not, sometimes I get overwhelmed. Like most of us do. We always have so much on our plate and so much, so many action items. I do that at the end of the day as well, and make sure I mark off what I have completed, and then maybe even highlight, like, when the baby goes to bed, this still has to be done. I do my husband, he saw the flyer that Cherish and Dana had put together. And he got a very good chuckle about that Cherish had asked me to talk to the group, because I do have a very hard time. It's something I'm going to work on this year, of putting work away and then focusing just on family. I'm always working. I'm always looking at whether it's cooking and I'm checking email, or I remember something and I'm putting it in my notes that I need to do the next day. So when you set your goals for the year, I encourage you to, I know some of you are like me, maybe set that goal of, you do need to put it away. Sean's not on here, is he? So we won't. Not for you, Sean, but you do need to stop it. And, Revolution is a big, we're big family people. We're big. We want you to be with your family. We want you to take your time off. You deserve it. And so I do highly recommend that. I also recommend setting your goals at the end of the year, for whether you're a manager or you're an employee, and whether that's, making a healthy lunch every day and bringing it to work. Or you probably can't see, but I have a whiteboard behind me. So the end of December, I'll start putting together all of my team's goals. And so that will be not only the goals that Sean has set for me, but that's also what we expect to do, and what I expect my team to get throughout the year. They change, they will, we'll elaborate as they go on. They may start as one bullet point and end up as 50. But that's just kind of how I work through things. I'm going to leave you, Cherish, I think I'm at my time. So I'm going to leave you with this and just remind you, whatever position you have, that Revolution, we are a family-oriented company. Sean and our leadership team are very understanding when a baby cries in the background on a call, or a dog jumps in your lap, or a cat walks across the screen. I think most companies have really opened up to this. But I will say that, so I'll leave you with this. I will say that our team and our leadership team is overly, overly understanding. So I'll leave you with a little picture of, this is my little girl, Irie. She's 15 months old. And then here is her and her dog, Marley. And so just so you guys know, she knows all about plastics. She's been on several calls with Sean and the team. I also have a very good relationship with our team, and I don't know if Brett and Brock are on or not, but we were on a financial call, and Irie and I do this little thing after she eats, is that we shake the baby and go like that. Well, I shook the baby and I was off mute. And so I have some wonderful coworkers who very quickly put me on mute. so that no one thinks I shake the baby. But so again, it's, we're understanding a lot of people don't get to work out of their home with their children, but just as a mom, please know that I know our team is very understanding, and work with your manager, and give them your feedback, and if things come up, let them know. And our HR team is wonderful, our managers are wonderful, so just stay in contact with them. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Tiffany. That was so nice. And you know what? I didn't see the picture, so I don't know if others could see it.
Oh,
It
no.
kind of shared your picture. Just for me, it showed that way. But I wanted to say, when we were talking about who to have on this call, Dana had said, Tiffany is so good at like getting back and making sure tasks are done, and just, so really hats off to you. Obviously, working for Sean, we understand that you have to respond to him, but we really appreciate all that you do for the whole team and for sharing. So thank you very, very much, Tiffany. And yeah, so you'll have to maybe share your picture in the chat or something. Okay, so thank you again. Our next speaker is Fran Veal. So I'm not sure if all of you have met Fran yet. She came when we acquired 5 Points and came part of the team. She started her career in finance as a commercial relationship manager for the Bank of America. After a brief break to be a full-time mom, if you can call it that, as she said, and all of you moms out there, I'm sure you say it's like having 5 jobs. For 10 years, she had her own accounting and payroll company specializing in nonprofits, such as Habitat for Humanity. She re-entered the workforce in 2017, and that's when she began working for 5 Points Film. As the pandemic hit in March 2020, Fran has been married to Randy for 36 years and has a 24-year-old daughter, Sarah. In her spare time, Fran enjoys writing and has published novels. Yes, please look her up. She has published. I was so amazed by that when I was looking at her profile. It's awesome. So we are so happy to have Fran, and she has 2 cats that she calls Snarky, but she loves them. So Fran, if you could take it away for us.
Okay, guys, can you, I was really flattered to be asked. My husband was also a little confused when he found out that I was going to be speaking, because at home I'm not really organized. And I will just tell you, I am not a naturally organized person. That's not my personality type at all. I am very sanguine personality type. So I'm not the type, I want everybody to be happy, and organization is just, not something I have to, comes naturally. So I have to really work at it. So one of the things that I do, I kind of put together a slideshow so that you could see what I do a little bit. Let me see if I can get it to the screen and see if y'all can see it. Hang on just a second. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Perfect.
All right. So, like I said, I have to really work at being organized. This is something I learned back when I was a banker, that if I did not stay on top of things were not going to get done. So what I have to do, this is what my desk looks like on a typical day. Now, it may look disorganized, but I know exactly where everything is on that desk. To the right is things that I need to work on sometime that day or within the next couple of days. And right in front of me is my calendar and what I'm working on right at the moment. And then because I'm left-handed, I always have some paper or notepad or something on the left for anything that doesn't need to go in my calendar, because with finance, you're always writing down numbers and, jotting down just little snippets of information that maybe don't necessarily need to go in my calendar. So that's kind of me. Like I said, I'm not this is to stay organized, though. I use a calendar. Ellen Condren works best for me. I have spent years looking for the right calendar. I have to have a daily calendar. I like something, if you can see the screen and see my mouse, I like to be able to schedule my day. but I also like a place to be able to put notes and to-dos. And then at the bottom is where I usually will put important task or something that maybe Greg tells me I need to do or asks me to work on. But, the big thing that I would tell anybody when it comes to trying to get organized or using a calendar, whatever, is that it has to work for you. What works for me may not work for you. It may be that you need something with less detail, or maybe something with more detail. But this is, like I said, I've looked for years, and this is the best one I've found for me so far. The other thing that I have is at work, I use my Outlook calendar. This tells me, this is my team calendar. My clerk and myself use this one. I can see if a big major bill for resin or something is coming due. I can see which reports are due, and then who's going to be out. All of that is right there at one spot where either one of us can look at it and see whether or not we're staying on track and whether things are getting done that are, the really important things. Greg, you'll see your reports are on here. Your budget report and all the resin reports and all that you asked us to do are on this report, so that we know, this calendar, so that we know what's going on. And I try to color code things. Like if I've paid a bill, I'll color code it in a different color to know that it's already been paid. But if it's in bright yellow, I know that it's still something that's out there that needs to be done. So, and then this is I know it's gonna seem a little bit obsessive, but I also have used the sticky note app, and I like my paper stuff, but I mean, this is something that it's right in front of me all day long, and I can add to it or take from it. I like to see things checked off, so I'll check things off. And it also is a place where I can put really important things that I have coming up, or something that I need to remember for the end of the month. It's just, like I said, it's just a little extra something, and it's real easy to keep up with these. And I color code these too, basically for what's this week or what's important. If it's really, really important, it goes into yellow. So those are my tools. But I want to talk to you guys a little bit about setting goals, because I learned a long time ago that goal setting, again, it's kind of can be a different process for everybody. But I just want to encourage all of you wonderful people out that are listening to dare to dream and imagine your best year ever. I'm kind of ripping this off from Michael Hyatt, so you can go to his website. He has some really good information, michaelhyatt.com, and that's HYATT, about goal setting. I find that for goal setting, for me, I like to be alone. I don't like to do it at work. I'll do it at home. I like to take maybe half a day to a day, just me, where I sit down and I think about everything that I want to accomplish in the year. And I let myself just go big, dream big, and think about everything what would my best year look at? I imagine what my year would look like. I imagine what my perfect year should be, and what it should look like. And then I will write down everything. I'll let, whatever comes to mind, I'll just write it down, even if it's something that maybe is going to later go into maybe a pile for next year. But I'll sit down and I'll think about everything I would really like to accomplish if I could do everything I wanted to do for the year. Then I try to organize it into reachable goals. So that's where I'll kind of pare things down and think, okay, is this realistic to do within a year? Yes or no? Is this something that maybe is a 5-year plan, or something that maybe I need to work on next year because maybe there are other things that are more important? So I try to take into consideration, I do my some personal goals, and I like to do professional goals. And professional goals, some of those are going to be kind of carved out by Greg and Chip, because they're my bosses. So some of those goals are going to be strictly, about my that being the controller of this part of the organization, the business unit controller, and the goals that they want me, the things that they want me to accomplish, the things that they want to see me do. But then I pare it down also to things that I want to do within the organization and personally, because Everybody has, I mean, there, you could spend all your time just working and going home and not really accomplishing anything at home. And I think home goals are just as important as work goals. So what I do is I try to make sure that when I'm setting goals, I start broad and then I narrow it down. I usually will pick 3 personal and 3 business goals to focus on. And I try to make sure when you're doing goals, make sure that they're actionable. And I'm sure you probably have all probably been through courses or something that have given you more specifics that they should be actionable and specific. So goals that aren't within your power, like get promoted, are not necessarily a good goal, but a goal for working toward getting promoted. What is something you could do if you're wanting a certain job or wanting to get to a certain level in the company? What is something you could do that is within your power to work toward getting promoted? Maybe talking to your boss about expectations, or maybe talking to the person that maybe is in a position that they're getting ready to leave, and you want to find out what are the best things, what do they need to know, what can you do to work to get toward that point in your job. Or another one that's not specific is on a personal level is losing weight. I mean, if I just said I want to lose weight, because most of us do, that's so broad. It's just kind of hard to figure out what it exactly is that you want to do. So I think I'm coming up on my time, so I'm going to just make this short and sweet. Just make sure that your goals are actionable and specific, that they're within your power to complete, that they stretch you but are reasonable, and that they're specific. That, for instance, you're going to complete a certain training by a certain date, or you're going to cut back on one sugary item a day in order to lose weight. So I'm going to stop because I think I'm at the end of my time, and I want to be sure. I want to hear what Autumn has to say. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. It'll let me.
Fran, that was fantastic. And for someone who says you're not organized, that seemed pretty organized to me to present that. So seriously, that's amazing. And like you said, it was similar to Tiffany in that you still like to write things down, like physically write, but then have the electronic to keep you organized as well. Does that sound about right, yes, Fran? That combo of that?
Like I said, I have to have extra tools. I have to be, oh yeah, Tiffany, I'll do that. Thank you. And that's a good snip. Now, okay, let's see, stop sharing. There we go. Can you, now we
Perfect.
should be back, not sharing the screen.
Perfect.
So, yes, I will put that in an email to send to everybody.
And thank you so, so much. And at the end, if anyone has any questions for our speakers, we'll go back, but really appreciate that, Fran. It was really helpful. Thank you. And so now we have Autumn. So Autumn works out of our Little Rock facility, or remotely, I should say as well. She's our functional analyst who helps support the IT team and business leaders at Revolution. She started her career at Revolution as an intern, so part of our intern program, and has since moved into the functional analyst role. Her favorite part of working at Revolution is the ability to problem solve every day. She also enjoys hiking with her dog and visiting every museum Dallas has to offer. Personal favorite being the Dallas Museum of Art. So with that, I'll let Autumn take it away.
Hello, everybody. So I feel like I need to preface this. What I have to share versus what Fran and Tiffany had to share are slightly different, because a lot of what I do is try to coordinate between what IT does at Revolution and then what the business needs. And so then in order to communicate 2 different ways, you kind of got to think about things a lot of different ways. And so what I'm going to show you is something I started doing, I'll call it June of this year. And that was really starting to get me into fully planning out what, things could look like, things should look like, between IT, IS, and the various ERP integrations that we are about to start full clipping doing as fast as possible. So and this is for Polar, but this is where it all started, was in February. We got a project and it was, oh boy, we've never done one of these before, especially not internally. How do we make sure we can manage to do something like that? And so then, George and I had communicated, and it was, we need to set up some place to store things, a central repository for documents. So we set up a SharePoint. We said that's a decent start. And then we went in and we started building out schedules on a week, like every couple week cadence. And I realized that's probably pretty tiny, but we started setting up schedules on like a every couple week cadence, and then it had who we needed to receive it from, what we need to receive, and whether or not it was done, if we had checked in on it, things like that, just to make sure that, because whenever you have a project that's very wide reaching, it's very important to make sure that all of the different dependencies are taken care of. And so kind of to start all of this stuff, and this is going to be kind of funny because this is like my handwriting, and I don't know how well you can read that, but the answer, if you can say that you can read it, is probably no, because I write very small and very fast. And so then my chicken scratch has to get translated, and this is the translated version of my chicken scratch. So this was an early one that we had done for Oakdale, and it was just kind of throwing spaghetti at a wall there for a little while, just trying to figure out what worked for the group of people that we were working with. But that's part of that problem solving that I really like to do. And then this is a more, refined version of what we were ending up, with at Oakdale. And so then kind of having and being able to see a clear progression in project planning is really, really nice, especially for me, because it's something that I enjoy to do. I plan a lot. I plan out my food 2 weeks in advance so that I have one grocery list for 2 weeks. I plan out my workouts every single day. I plan probably a little bit too much, but it keeps me calm inside. And I'm a person that has to be calm inside. Otherwise, things go haywire. So kind of what I have to say, I guess, is that there's a lot of different ways that you can tackle a problem. And so long as you know at least what some of the goals are at the end of the day, I would say that you can pretty safely try to plan something out. And so much of the time, people just want a starting point. And then once there is a starting point and they know the end, then it's a lot easier to get there, especially if a large group of people is involved. And so then, with the integrations, we're dealing with every single person at the organization. Every single group is getting, affected in some way, shape, or form. And it's a lot of push and pull. And so then it's important to not only have the conversations, but to write down all the concerns, kind of weigh cost benefit analysis, like who's going to be more affected and how. And then you can go out and plan something that's going to be successful for everybody. And so then I really like doing that on the more outward facing part of the business from IT, but also on the more internal part. One thing that I've been trying to do a lot recently between IT and then also for other parts of the business where I see it needed is writing out SOPs, because we don't really have a lot of those. And I know that, for me, if I was just kind of tossed and said, hey, figure it out. And then, you can figure things out, and that's really good. But in case, we hire somebody new or someone wants to get skilled in another area, it's important to have an idea of how to do something the way that we want it to be done. And so then for all of that stuff, that's kind of how I approach planning at Revolution as a whole. And then as far as planning in my personal life, that's kind of something that I do on my phone and then on my big calendar, which I have in my living room right now. But it has social obligations, workouts, flights, what my boyfriend Christian is up to when he writes it on there, because he's not very good at planning. But we won't talk too much about that. But that's kind of my scoop. I know that I didn't have as much to say as everybody else, but that's kind of what I've got.
That's great. That was great. And I think a question for you, Autumn, is just because you talked about, I think you just, referenced your boyfriend as well, is you are working to get people organized, right, within our organization that maybe maybe they aren't, or they just didn't have the tools. So I guess with that, how do you help other people? Like when someone's not very organized and, you know, we don't want to insult people or whatever, but we want to help them become more, how do you manage that?
I would say that, and then not to continue picking on Christian, but he's not a very organized guy. And so then it's kind of, hey, next week, I want you to cook 2 times. Please tell me what you want to cook next week by Sunday, which is, the first day of that week. And then he's like, oh, yeah, okay. And then it's every day, hey, have you decided one thing that you want to make? Hey, have you decided one thing that you want to make? And then, by Saturday, he's like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to put out both of them. I'm like, thank you. Moving forward, positive steps. But as far as things for here are concerned, I find that getting to know the people that you work with helps a lot. And so then I've had, since the time that I was an intern to now, I've talked to a lot of different people in a lot of different groups for what I would consider to be a substantial amount of time. And, luckily I've been able to see some of them face to face. And so then once you get a grasp of the personalities of the people that you're working with, it's a lot easier to communicate well with them. And communicating well with people is the biggest part of garnering success with planning out projects. And so then, if you're potentially dealing with a team that is just so busy all the time, they just cannot stop to think about what do we need to get done. Sometimes it helps to put the tasks in front of them and then they can just add it to the list and then move on. And then sometimes people want to be more involved with it. And then in that case, set up the meetings, say, this is our idea. Do you like the idea? Do you not? If they don't, say, well, what do you suggest? And then, you can kind of get to a pretty good place doing things like that. But that's
okay. That's awesome. And really, in talking to Autumn, she did say that for maybe those areas or locations or groups that don't have like her project plan, like she started to do, or maybe you would like SOPs done, she'd happily share with you some of the templates that she's done. So we appreciate that. I know, I don't know if Stephanie Mallett's on here, but Stephanie has always been a very, hey, do we have an SOP for that? And so we appreciate that. And, Autumn has that. And so if we can learn from each other, again, that's more helping others plan, but in helping others plan, you're planning yourself too, right, in your activities. So if I could ask just each of the ladies, just if they could just give one thing, if they were going to just give this group just a thought, or groups that'll watch this later, what's one thing as someone goes into next year that you would recommend that they think about in goal planning or goal setting or helping stay organized? If you could just, and I'll start with you, Autumn.
give me no time to think there, Cherish.
Sorry.
I think that if there was one thing that I would say, it would be that, well, it's kind of dual faceted. First, don't be disappointed if some things don't pan out the way that you want them to, because I think it's about impossible to have everything work out just the way you want it to. And that's really important not to take it too hard on yourself personally when things like that happen, because life happens. And then I'd say the other side of that is that, similar to what Fran said, you need to think about things that are attainable in the short term and the long term. And so then if you have a long-term goal, such as, we have to get this thing done by April, hell or high water, we got to get it done by April. There's a lot of different things that you can do between now and April to make sure that it's on task and that it's going to get done in time. But that would be what I say.
Great. Thank you. And thank you for doing that so quickly. And I'll go to Fran next.
Okay, kind of piggybacking on what Autumn said, I would just say don't make it all or nothing, because I mean, as someone, like I said, it's not naturally organized, trying to have an all or nothing approach, you'll give it up. You'll start it and give up if you don't do it perfectly. So give yourself cut yourself some slack, and just set, if you haven't been setting goals, start small, set 2 goals, one personal, one professional. If you are starting off with a calendar, make it a point to, schedule part of your day. If you can't get it all scheduled, just, like I said, start slow and forgive yourself if you can't do it, if you can't do it perfectly.
Thank you, Fran. And Tiffany?
Yeah, so I think my my biggest recommendation would be write it down. And kind of going off of what Fran said, you know, spend a half a day, spend a day really thinking about what you want to accomplish in the coming year. And then if you're like me, I have a team. And so I think it's also important to share the goals with my team. And so they also take ownership of it as well. If it's, you know, if it's just something that I feel like we need to get done, then I may not be as apt to stay on top of things and get it done. Whereas if it's my team and, you know, look, we have these 6 goals and this is, we really, you know, this will make the company better. And this is what we've set out for 2022. I think it's important to get their feedback and get their buy-in. And then you work together to accomplish this goal.
Thank you. I don't know if you've all ever heard that poem by Dr. Benjamin Mays. It's, maybe you've heard me say it before, but it's, you know, if I had just 1 minute, only 60 seconds in it, thrust upon me, can't refuse it, didn't seek it, didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it, must account if I abuse it, must suffer if I lose it, just 1 tiny little minute, but eternity is in it. And so it's like every minute that we're on, you know, this earth doing something, whatever it is, whether it's planned or unplanned, it's just, it has meaning, right? And impact. And so we really appreciate that, you know, these ladies shared their thoughts on and goal setting and vision for next year. And thank you so much. Thanks, ladies. And we will share what Fran had. And if anybody has questions or wants any other information, please reach out. And just really quick, if you all don't mind, I would like to just share with you the website again, because we have made some changes to it. So if you go to revolutioncompany.com and then /ERG Women, and Tiff, if you could put that link in the chat, I would so appreciate that. What we've done here, and you may have seen this from our last meeting, but Scott Smith, I'm not sure if Scott Smith is on this call, but he had such a great idea about why don't we have a book club? And so the idea of this book club is that we would provide a book that you could read, and we have a few here. We have some in English and some for our Spanish speakers. And you simply go onto our website that Tiffany will put in the link, and you go on there and you literally can request the book. And we have different types of books, you know, one that's more Harvard Business about women at work. There's some on influential women, some on just quotes. So we've tried to provide a variety for you to be able to check out, basically. And there's a process when you go on here, there's a way to click, check them out, and then we'll work with you on getting that book. And then when you're done, we will either share it with someone that you may work with on a regular basis, or we'll share it with another team member in a different location, but we'll handle all that with you. We want to make this simple and easy and just a way to share books. And our idea would be we would have these for now, but we're always open to other books, and we would like to add new books in the future, but we really hope you like this idea, and we'll come on here and check out a book from us, and no cost to you. We just want to be able to share this with our team. Also on the website, you'll see that we had the last meeting up. We do have it in English. We have it with Spanish subtitles. We just want to be able to present this to, you know, everyone within our team. So you'll see that as well. At the top, we will be putting articles and things that we think may be of interest. And so if you would like to be notified when we do that, we'll have a way for you to be part of that list. And again, we would really just like to build up this women's group, you know, not just in these quarterly meetings, but across our locations. So if you would like to be more involved or like to have your location that you're out of, or if you're remote, we would love to have this take off beyond, again, these meetings that we're having quarterly. But again, we hope that you can come on this website and be able to just check out a book and let us know what you think. So that's that. And as we look going into next year, we're going to be discussing some of the topics that came out of, some surveys that Scott Smith had done. So we want to be able to next year talk about maternity leave and some maternal issues and talking through that, because that was the #1 subject that people had written down that they really want to discuss. And we want to be able to talk, a little bit more about some things that deal with harassment or discrimination. And again, this group is not about pointing fingers or being negative. It's about how together we can help each other and support each other. And we also understand maybe these quarterly meetings, some of these discussions, maybe it's more comfortable in a smaller setting or at a location. And that is truly our goal in moving forward, is to expand this out. And we hope that through this website, through these meetings, that people will feel comfortable and feel like they can be part of this process. So with that, unless anyone has any questions, I will say happy holidays. And I really, really appreciate you coming on here today. I am grateful for all of you. And thank you so much to our 3 women that spoke today. We love your perspective, and we hope that today you learned something new that can take you into the new year.
Happy holidays.
Great job.
Thank you all.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.